In a quiet moment, Benjamin and Chuck found themselves staring out of the windows of the cabin, silently watching the dark forest. They were scanning the area, wondering if there was anything else out there, anything other than the horrible nightmare they found themselves in. Chuck let out a light sigh. "I didn't think I'd ever find myself in a situation like this," he muttered. Benjamin shook his head. "I'd read about some of the weird and paranormal stuff on Mount So," Benjamin admitted, "but I never thought I'd actually get to see any of it." Chuck turned to look at Benjamin. "Were you hoping for something to happen?" Chuck asked. Benjamin smiled, giving a light chuckle. "No, but it's kind of crazy that it did." Benjamin's expression suddenly became serious again. "Now that I have seen it, I'm trying to figure out what to do about it." Chuck looked back out the window. "We survive it, right?" he asked. Benjamin shrugged. "Probably. I could envision a situation where we would need to approach this in a slightly different mindset than mere survival." Chuck looked at Benjamin again, a little confused. "Such as?" Benjamin turned, looking Chuck in the eye. "Maybe this is our chance to really learn about what is going on here," Benjamin began. "We actually have an opportunity to discover what has actually been happening on Mount So, and maybe with that knowledge, the true meaning behind the paranormal happenings could be brought to light." Benjamin turned to look out into the forest again, a confident smile on his face. "Maybe we have a chance to finally stop all of this from impacting and terrifying anybody else." Chuck looked outside again, now deep in thought. Benjamin had a great point. If they focus on just making it through the terrible night, who's to say it won't happen again and again? If Chuck really wanted to make a difference, maybe this was the time to find a more permanent solution. But what was Chuck going to do? Chuck spent his life working with his hands, keeping himself and his friends safe from dangers that Chuck could actually see and touch. What could Chuck do against this paranormal enemy? Chuck sighed. There were only a couple of people Chuck knew that had any chance fighting against such a monster. Chuck turned to Benjamin and smiled. "Well, if anyone's cut out for a job like that, it's going to be you." Benjamin nodded, taking a deep breath. "I'll do the best I can," he said, his voice serious and heavy. Chuck folded his arms, staring back out into the darkened woods, his expression filled with a stern responsibility. "I know you will. We're gonna need it." What you just heard was an excerpt from my latest card game, The Night of Horrors: Darkness Rising, a cooperative monster survival aiming to unite great gameplay with impactful storytelling. This game features 10 different characters and a dozen different monsters, each character featuring their own unique relationships with each other and with the world of Mount So. But before we get into all of that, I'd like to introduce you to the gameplay loop that you will be utilizing in order to survive against these horrible, horrible monsters. The first thing that you're going to do is you're going to split off into different locations to collect items to keep your health and sanity afloat. You can visit locations such as the chapel, stock full with spirit items that will help you keep your sanity intact, the ranger tower, filled with weapons and medicine that will hopefully keep your health up, the mine, filled with a great variety of items as well as a hint of the mystery of what's going on in Mount So, and the cabin, a very safe place where you don't have to venture far in order to find decent items to protect yourself against the monster. Up next, you're going to actually choose who is going to face the monster. You know that the monster is coming and the monster is not going to hold anything back, so you need to decide who is going to take the brunt of the monster attack or encounter and who is going to hold back safely while trying to recover their sanity. After the monster event is resolved, then you move on to the character interaction, where you could potentially draw one of the 360 possible character interactions that are each impacted by the sanity of the different characters as you play. Each one of these characters are unique, and each one of their interactions will give you a little bit more backstory as to who these characters are and the relationships that they have with each other. Now, let's talk story. One of the characters that you will be following throughout this game is Benjamin. On the outside, Benjamin is a fairly simple kid. He likes to read, he's good at school, and he runs cross-country in his free time. But he is also filled with an aggressive curiosity regarding the strange paranormal activities happening on Mount So. Benjamin is obsessed in trying to find the answer to the great mystery of what is the dark force behind all of the strange happenings on Mount So. As you can see on the board behind Benjamin, he has compiled already a great deal of resources and research in order to try and piece together the mystery himself. But he's not going to be able to do it alone. He has his friends with them. Some of those friends Benjamin is very close to. Others have a bit of a struggle in the relationship. But one in particular, he is especially interested in seeing more than just a friend. But you'll have to find out who that is later in the game. These friends one day decide that they should spend their weekend in a cabin owned by one of his friends up in Mount So. And along the way, they come face to face with a powerful monster. Let me introduce you to the most dangerous and powerful monsters in the entire dozen catalog of monsters, Nightmare. Nightmare is the most challenging monster in the game, as he completely drains your sanity rapidly, and you have to do your best to try and hold that back as much as possible. Nightmare is practically unstoppable. You need to pull out the best strategies and find the best items in order to keep your sanity afloat. But don't neglect your health, as Nightmare sneakily has an attack that will slowly get stronger as the night progresses. If you can endure Nightmare's oppressive mental force as well as the growing ferocity of his attacks, you will be able to see the sun in the morning again. In the Night of Horrors, between the character interactions, all of the different endings, as well as a plethora of other narrative scenes that you can find, there are over 1,000 individual unique narrative scenes to discover, each of which will help you connect to the characters in the game and will help unveil more and more of the mystery of Mount So. I hope you and your friends have a great time playing the Night of Horrors, and I can't wait to see your reactions and thoughts on discovering the story hidden in Mount So. Please leave a like and follow the page on whatever platform that you end up watching this on, as I will be posting more and more updates on the game as time goes on, closer to its release. There will be a Kickstarter coming out later this year, so please keep your eye out for that, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day, and be careful, because you don't know if a monster is just waiting right around